Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Triple Double Nation. Today we're discussing the craziest NBA stories you forgot happened. As the regular NBA season comes to a close, it's time to think back on the incredible, crazy season we had. It was a season filled with crazy stories and weird twists and turns that no one expected, so many of these events were out of our minds in just a couple of days. So let's take a look at the top 10 things that make you think, wait, they actually happened? Let's get into the video. Larry Bird and Dr. J's fight. Two of the biggest faces of the NBA. November 9th, 1984, the Boston Celtics played host to the Philadelphia 76ers. It was supposed to be a huge showdown between Larry Legend and Dr. J. Bird was by far outplaying Dr. J, and was he letting him know about it. Bird was one of the greatest trash talkers after all. With 1 minute 36 left in the third quarter, Irving charged at Bird and landed a jab. At one point, players on the 76ers restrained Bird and let Irving get in a few good licks. Both players were ejected and fined a combined $15,000. At the time of the ejection, Dr. J had 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists, while Bird had 42 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. Do you see why Dr. J charged him now? Adam Silver would prefer the fans forget about the fighting that used to happen between the stars. Latrell Sprewell choking his coach. Not many good things came from his career, but this was one of the worst things to come out of it. He's going to be one of the most infamous players to have ever put on an NBA jersey. It was during a Warriors practice on December 1st, 1997, that Latrell Sprewell lost it and started to coach his coach, PJ Carlesimo, for about 10 to 15 seconds before being dragged away. He left and returned later, hitting a glancing blow before being dragged away again. He was originally suspended for 82 games before it was reduced to 68 games. That suspension lost him $6.4 million and a shoe deal with Converse. Sprewell said the punishment was too harsh. He is quoted on saying on 60 Minutes, "I wasn't choking him that hard. I mean, he could still breathe." Sprewell never played for the Warriors as he was traded to the Knicks following his reinstatement in 1999. It's safe to say that this won't be fondly remembered in league history. Magic Johnson was fined for tampering. Magic Johnson, NBA legend and president of the Lakers, was fined $50,000 for complimenting Giannis Antetokounmpo, a human being who is very easy to compliment. In said compliment, he literally said Giannis will win Milwaukee a championship, not LA. Here's the full quote. Steve Kerr let his players coach. In a meaningless February game against one of the worst teams in the league, Phoenix, Warriors coach Steve Kerr let injured vets Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala take over the clipboard and coach the game. This was just a really weird move, which is quite unprecedented and offended pretty much no one except for Jared Dudley. The Cavs traded everyone. The favorites in the Eastern Conference, who won the title this year before last, have the league's best player, conducted an unprecedented roster makeover. Isaiah Thomas, Derrick Rose, Jay Crowder, Channing Frye, Dwayne Wade, Iman Shumpert all out. Larry Nance Jr., Jordan Clarkson, Rodney Hood, George Hill in. Absolutely unprecedented roster turnover. Incredibly bold deadline from an elite team. Was it a good choice? Probably, but it seems hanging on to Kyrie would have been the best path. Fergie butchered the national anthem. It's not an accident that butchered is in all caps. It was awful. It was an absolute internet sensation for like less than 24 hours. Here's the video, if you can sit through it one more time. This is why you just sing the national anthem like it's meant to be sung, rather than trying to make it about you. It was rumored that LeBron was considering the Warriors. This report came out of literally nowhere. There was a 2 or 3 day period when it was seriously being considered, till LeBron himself shut them down. But still, everyone's like, there's no way. But like, what if? Nah, no way. But maybe there is. But in reality, there's no way. Or is there? Someone pretended to be a Pelicans player in warm-ups and got away with it. This New Orleans fan in warm-up gear was on the court for 19 seconds before a security guard finally noticed he wasn't a player on the team and returned him to his seat. He even got a shot off. LeVar actually created a league. The rise of LeVar Ball is ridiculous to rehash. It started with Lonzo Ball, that kid at UCLA. His dad said he could beat MJ in one-on-one. Eventually, Big Baller Brand came to be, the crazy prices of these shoes and other apparel. LaMelo and LiAngelo came onto the scene as one dropped 92 and the other was arrested, and now Lonzo is LeVar's son. More than LeVar is Lonzo's dad. And the craziest thing of all is LeVar creating the Junior Basketball Association, an alternative amateur league, which my friend jokingly signed up for the other day. Insane. Paul Pierce complained about Isaiah's tribute video. Paul Pierce has always been a bit of a diva, but his beef with Isaiah was really a new low. Isaiah Thomas was a top 5 MVP finisher for the Celtics. He played through a terrible hip injury, a tooth knocked out, and the tragic death of his sister. Then the Siege traded him. Kind of a jerk move, but it's a business, so naturally the Celtics planned a tribute video for his first game at the Garden. But Paul Pierce has a problem with this. Considering it was also his jersey retirement night, Isaiah responded with class, telling Boston to give the night to Pierce. The number 1 pick set out most of the season and forgot how to shoot. Markelle Fultz was a perfect fit to put next to Ben Simmons in Philly. When he twisted his ankle in Summer League, everyone did the "oh, of course the Sixers rookie is injured," but we had no idea. By the preseason, people began to question Fultz's shooting form, and a handful of games into the season, Fultz began to set out with a shoulder injury. No one really knew how bad the injury was. Eventually, we forgot about him. That is, until Brett Brown randomly announced that he was coming back, and now he is, and his jump shot looks fine. J.R. Smith threw soup on the coach. J.R. has had his fair share of weird events over the years, but this one stands out. Smith was suspended for 1 game by the Cavaliers for throwing soup on assistant coach Damon Jones. Just imagine how this went down. Things are shouted back and forth, probably, and the shooting guard just hurls a bowl of soup at the assistant coach. Such a JR move. Eric Bledsoe didn't want to be there. Eric Bledsoe had already been reportedly unhappy in Phoenix, where he was the only veteran of value on a tanking team. Then, in the first month of the season, when the Suns were already performing at a historic low and the head coach had been fired, Bledsoe tweeted, "I don't want to be here." He was traded a week and a half later, but it was the hair salon. Right. KCP played in a game wearing an ankle monitor. Hear that one again? Yeah, that happened. It wasn't even a big deal at the time. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Lakers wing, got a DUI last year when playing for Detroit. This year, his 25-day jail sentence was implemented. A work release program allowed him to leave prison for games, but he couldn't leave the state of California, so he got a DMP personal reasons in some road games. Crazy. Bobby Portis broke Nikola Mirodic's face. As training camp was winding down, competing power forwards Bobby Portis and Nikola Mirotic got into a scuffle during scrimmage. Mirotic shoved Portis, and Portis returned with a punch right to Nico's face, which left him out for a couple of months with various fractures. Portis was suspended for 8 games and apologized. Meanwhile, with both out, Lauri Markkanen introduced himself. Mirotic, still broken in the face, said it was either him or Portis, but Mirotic couldn't be traded till December. Then they had reportedly buried the hatchet, but then Mirotic did get traded. The whole Kevin Durant saga. Imagine this. It's the beginning of the season, and Kevin Durant has a hamstring injury. He should be back by opening night, though. A setback is reported, and he won't play opening night. The more setbacks are reported, when will the star small forward play? Finally, in January, KD returns. He plays 8 games of a 14-game stretch, and then is shut down again. The team doctors clear him, but he sits out. The team's Hall of Fame point guard, Steph Curry, says, "My hamstring injury was way worse, and I sucked it up and played through it." Then a report comes out that there was a team meeting where they begged Durant to play, but he refused. The Rockets/Clippers tunnel war. This is the craziest story, no question. Chris Paul, former Clipper, was playing against his former team at the Staples Center. There's obvious friction during the game between CP3 and certain Clippers, namely Blake Griffin and Austin Rivers. After the game, Chris Paul and fellow star James Harden used a secret tunnel in the bowls of the Staples Center to sneak into the back of the Clippers locker room. The best part of the story is that Clint Capella was sent to the front door of the Clips locker room to distract the Clippers from Harden and Paul sneaking in the back. Capella reportedly knocked on the front door and the Clippers opened it, and then slammed it right in his face. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and comment if you think the Sixers can bring that championship to Philly this summer. See you guys in the next video. Have a great day.